So my genogram consists of 3 generations. Um, I have me and my siblings, and then I have my parents, and then we have our grandparents. So with me, I'll start with me. Um, no, I'll start with my brother. Okay, so my brother is older. He is 4, almost 5 years older than me, and so him and he. Sorry, I'm trying to word this. So he um, has a different dad, and so my mom was in a relationship with his dad, and then they separated shortly after my mom found out that she was having my brother, and then um, she had my brother. You know, she was working full time. She was a single parent. Then she met my dad. Her and my dad got married. A couple of years later, I came along, and then um, her and my dad were divorced when I was 4. This was around 1990. Um, then, about 4 years later, my dad he had already been married again, and he had another child by somebody else, and so I have a sister. And later on, they divorced, but she remarried somebody, and my dad gave up his rights to my sister. And so I honestly really don't know my sister all that well. I've met her a couple of times, but she hasn't really been a big presence in my life. Um, so my dad, with my dad, he died when I was 15 in a house fire. It was in West Virginia. I was here. He was with one of his, then he had remarried again, but he was with his wife and the chimney caught on fire, and he couldn't make it out. So that's that with him. With my mom remarried, or didn't remarry, she got into another relationship, and she was in that relationship for 7 years. And so he was my stepdad. He was abusive. He was an alcoholic. She was afraid, to tell him to leave, and so she just stuck in that relationship, and it was pretty toxic. Not gonna lie, I've been to therapy a lot because of the issues that I have, of some of the stuff that we've experienced growing up. But so my mom is adopted. She was adopted when she was 6 years old. Her mom died of an aneurysm when she was 6, and so the people I knew as my grandma and grandpa adopted her. Her and 2 of her siblings. So my grandma and grandpa are the only ones that I know. I don't know my biological grandmother and grandfather. My biological grandfather was abusive towards my biological grandmother. I do know that. I know that he was an alcoholic, hence the reason why my mom didn't have a relationship with him, and that she didn't go with him because of that. With my brother and his dad, his dad lives in Tennessee, and his grandparents, both of them are deceased. One of them just died actually recently, just passed away in Tennessee. And his grandfather's been gone for a couple of years now. But his grandma and grandpa were together for a very, very long time. They were married for a long time. Dad's my my dad's parents were married for over 50 years. They actually have a lot of children. My grandma has actually more children than what we know, because there was a time to where, she had affairs and my grandpa was away, and so she gave some of those children up for adoption. And so I'm not exactly sure as far as how many siblings my dad has, because there could be several that I don't even know. With my mom, she has 3 sisters and a brother. One of them is deceased. She was a heroin addict, and she actually died of hepatitis. Her liver swelled and it failed, and there was not really a whole lot that they could do, because she was off of her medication, so she didn't take it. So with my biological grandma from my dad's side, which is my grandma and grandpa Holly, which is my father's parents. Sorry. So they're both they both died. They've been gone for my grandpa's been gone for about 8 or 9 years now, and then my grandma's been gone for, I want to say 5 years. And then my mom's adoptive parents have been gone since the early 90s. One died in 1990 and the other one died in 1991. So they have been gone for a really long time. I didn't include this into my genogram, but I do have 3 children, and a 15-year-old, a 10-year-old, and a almost 1-year-old. She will be 1 on April 1st. I have been with their father for 19 years. It is totally the opposite of what I've ever experienced as far as relationships I've seen in my life. I usually, whenever I was younger, I was used to my mom being in sort of abusive relationships. So it's kind of the opposite with mine. My kids aren't exposed to a lot of the things that I was whenever I was growing up, but I'm kind of making more of an effort to make sure that that cycle is broken and that we don't experience those kind of things. The more I've educated myself and been, I guess, more present, it's less likely that that kind of stuff is going to happen. And so I find that the circle is going to be broken after a couple of generations of abuse and alcoholism and that kind of stuff. So I think that that's the imbalance in our family, is that there's a lot of alcohol abuse, and I try to not drink every night, not party every night, that kind of stuff. And that's what I was really raised around. And so my kids don't really experience that. And the imbalance is that, I don't have a whole lot of family support because of my choices. So that's pretty much my genogram summed up in about 10 minutes. Alright, thanks for your time, guys. I will catch you guys later. Thank you.